Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pod TV's The Energy Talk Show. I am Kimberly Calhoun, your host today. I am at CERAeek by S&P Global here in Houston, Texas. And with us today, I have a special guest, Jeffrey Benoite, and he is here sharing a story about his company and how it is interacting with the energy world and the energy industry. Hello, Jeffrey.
Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
I'm doing great, except for technical difficulties here. Hold on just a second. This happens every once in a while.
It happens to us all. No problem at all.
This is what happens when you go live. Anyway, Jeffrey, tell us a little bit about why you are here. You are actually over in the Agora section.
Right. That's
So
right.
Agora is where all the new innovation and technology, new ideas, businesses, it's completely infrastructure to kind of interface with the oil, gas, energy conference, CERAeek. So tell me just a little bit about what you're doing over in Agora.
Sure. It's actually where the excitement happens, to be quite honest. So they have executive sessions here, and then they have Agora. Just as you said, Kimberly, this to me is where we learn about all of the innovation and the new technologies that's coming out that will revolutionize where we're going directionally in the energy industry. So I find participating in the panel sessions, listening to the panel sessions, listening to the experts, those who are directly engaged with the technology, that to me is the most exciting, the most informative, and gives me the information I need to take back to my company to see how we can not only maneuver through this incredibly dynamic marketplace, but also try to anticipate what our customers would require from us. So it's really a matter of discovery and gaining awareness of what's actually happening out there. It's happening so fast, so quickly, that we need to be able to get together and share kind of all of the views to make sure we're all moving in the right direction.
Wow, that's fascinating. Now, you've been on a what I call a conference journey in this year already with your idea. We're going to talk about who you are and how you got here. But just real quick, what separates CERAeek, the S&P Global, with Agora versus everything else you have done?
Sure. It's very simple. This brings together not only the executive leadership, but also the critical decision makers and the influencers in the companies that we're looking to help transform. So you have an opportunity to speak and engage and educate and make aware of what can truly be the art of the possible to help them transform their company, help their strategic vision, and in the end, not only clean energy for everyone, but also do something that's environmentally sound for everyone. So other conferences, typically you're going to get more of a sales type of approach. I do sometimes like to go to those, but here we have fish in a barrel. We have the right audience, the right people, along with my executive leadership, to really have impactful, meaningful discussions.
Wow, I appreciate that input because this has been one of my favorite conferences that I have attended pretty much my whole career, and I have done nothing but conferences probably for the last 20 years. And this is the one that I go to all the time now. I don't really go to conferences anymore. This is the only one I journey to, and it's precisely the reason why you mentioned. Now, Jeffrey, you have quite an interesting history, a life that got you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Jeffrey?
Sure, no problem. So, very simply, I have been excited and inspired in power generation my entire life, from a little kid to where I am today, bigger kid. My house was over the approach landing for my local airport, so I would watch these big, huge pieces of tubular metal fly over my house all the time, wondering how we could do something like that. It was because of that that I decided I wanted to be an engineer. I was quite good with math and science, and began my college career and knew that I wanted to work on aircraft engines, which is what kept them in the sky. So I immediately out of university started to work for General Electric, working on aircraft engines, in particular low emission combustion systems for aircraft engines. This was 38 years ago, when low emissions was really not a major issue, that being carbon monoxide, oxides of nitrogen, which again is something that's regulated today by the EPA. But what we wanted to do was provide a transformative solution. I was able to work on that right out of university, very inspiring. From there, I wanted to understand a different type of energy field, and I went into supporting the delivery of nuclear reactors for naval submarines, attack class submarines, Trident submarines, and learned about nuclear energy. So I was able to transition my understanding from one area over into nuclear and how important that is, not just for Army and naval ships, but also for the power industry. From there, I moved to the same company, but in a different area, that being gas turbines. And for the balance of my career, I've been trying to find ways to improve and enhance the flexibility of gas turbines for power. I'll explain that about how that part of my journey in just a minute.
I do have a question for you, because one of the things we like to do on our network is inspire the necessary tools and resources that you need to become who you are. You've had a fascinating career with a wonderful company. I mean, you've done everything from sky to ocean. I mean, that's everything that everyone dreams about. So, what did you do to become that kind of engineer?
That's an interesting question. Well, the most important thing for me is I was always inquisitive and always wanted to ask a lot of questions. I always knew power was incredibly important. I always knew that there were different ways of generating it, and I just simply wanted to learn more about it. So I wanted to expand my awareness and understanding of different types, but always with a bit of an environmental bent to it. Being an avid hiker and a golfer, and my family are avid hikers, I know how important the environment is to me. And it's something that I want to leave here as one of my legacies, to show that it made some type of impact, been able to contribute in moving this long pathway to our clean energy transition, not only for my children, but for everyone else.
Well, that's something that we have a lot of the people on our network. David M. Walker is the same way. He was the lead legacy, was the former control general of the United States, and he has a financial show that he likes to help inspire better economics for our world. And he actually doesn't just do it from behind the TV. He goes to Washington a lot and helps change the laws. But that's great, because we need somebody who's concerned about these things, not just for ourselves, but for our future. And that's not why we're doing this. So what kind of education did you get to do all of this? This is fascinating.
Yeah, sure. My background is mechanical engineering.
Okay.
And particularly in the delivery of structures. That comes with making sure that they don't fall apart, that they last a long time. In the case where I'm trying to build for a gas turbine, what's called a combustor, which is where the fuel and the air is mixed, and you basically are creating a continuous fire. I would call it a fancy Weber grill, if you will. But putting the metal around that chemical reaction without it falling apart, melting apart, and always operating the way it should be operating. But that was my initial engineering background, the inquisitive engineering side of me. But I knew that I wanted to bring a message for broader awareness. So I moved into strategy and business development, see how we could bring forward these really great ideas and products to build our market in terms of what our company currently does today. And from there, I wanted to manage products. How do you position products? How do you provide a value proposition? All of these things I didn't know anything about. So I was able, through my company, to get the training I needed to build that capability. So one thing I would say, even though you're an engineer, you can be reprogrammed, you can be bettered by taking those elements and moving it into areas which might be a little bit uncomfortable at first, but for me gave a lot of gratification. Being able to take that message out on the road to new customers, existing customers, those who are wary of new technology, those who don't want to change, but trying to find a way to position what we believe, and certainly what I believe, to be the right type of products that will satisfy what they're looking for, whether they know it or not.
So I want to ask you a question because I'm an engineer too, and sometimes we just say, "Oh, do it away with the book and figure it out." I mean, I found that if you don't get uncomfortable with what you're doing, you're never going to grow. You're never going to find that change that needs to happen to innovate. What was one point in your career that you can remember that just gave you that little bit of fire and you just disrupted everything that you knew and said, I'm going to change this?
Sure. Well, I was in a position at my previous company, which was General Electric. I worked at General Electric for about 16 years. My current company, PSM, which I'll talk a little bit about in a little while, I've been here for almost 23 years. And that transition, because the two companies compete in a marketplace, and went from one core original equipment manufacturer who dominates a marketplace and moved into an aftermarket competitor. And the reason I did that was because I knew it was different, but I was given such an opportunity to lead an R&D organization who was going to be inventing and creating new solutions that we could do something that was better than our competition, that was better for our customer, and we could bring it to market quicker. Completely a bit out of my comfort zone, but knowing that I would have really smart people. I don't have to be, nor am I, the smartest person in that room. But if I'm smart enough to know to surround myself with those who are and enable them to be able to do the magic that they do, we've got a fighting chance. And that's really what drew me. That change 22 and a half years ago, to go from a comfort zone within a large corporation and move to a small 60 employee company looking to grow on a global basis. That was really what I found to be the change.
I mean, it's kind of like the fossil fuel thing, right? You're going from the dinosaurs into something just, no, that's not a good example. But, you went from big corp, which was a good way to learn, right? They had the money, but then you went into something that's more like a startup.
Right. Yeah, our company was started by 5 engineers.
Wow.
Who, through their desire to find a way to be, they were clearly entrepreneurs, and they were looking for ways to disrupt the marketplace. And they were given an opportunity by an energy company to retrofit and modify and update some gas turbines and place them in a market that desperately needed the power. It was something they had never done. But being entrepreneurs, the answer is always, yeah, we can do it. And they were able to pull together a team of engineers that had the discipline and background to pull this off. They did it twice. And because of the success of that, they saw the opportunity of this business model being something that could be developed and acquired by a company that is looking for that type of capability, whether it's for their own services or whether it's, say, an internal supplier. So our company was bought by an independent power producer called Calpine. It was one of the largest independent power producers, even still today. This was back in 2001. From that, They provided the R&D, they provided the money to hire people, they gave us access to their gas turbines, allowed us to instrument gas turbines, understand how they ticked, what the durability issues. They were looking to grow their business from 9,000 megawatts to 70,000 megawatts and become the largest independent power producer in the world. And because of that, they needed us to address any early durability, early maturity issues that were being delivered to them from the OEMs. And that's exactly what we did. There were issues, and it impacted their bottom line. So with this small upstart group, started with 5 people. I joined when there were 60. We doubled the organization in a matter of a few years and started to deliver our own intellectual property, our own turbine component replacements that were better, that were delivered quicker, that didn't fail in the field, that allowed my parent company to deliver on what they wanted: reliable power, cost-effective power, and at low maintenance cost. That's really what we've been doing. That was our first owner. I mean, we've gone through 3 other owners, but every single owner that we had saw the value of what we're doing to disrupt a very staid service market, one that was pretty much captive, almost on a monopoly basis, but where we could break through and deliver. And that from our first owner, our second owner, third owner, and now with Hanwha, a South Korean conglomerate, who together with us are looking for transformative solutions that will catalyze sustainability and growth through innovation and technology. It just rang so true. And to see that their trust in what we can deliver is part of what they're doing on an overall global basis has been truly inspiring and very exciting for what we're looking to do.
Well, that's what it takes, is uniting, and not just in one culture, but in many cultures, to learn from each other. I'm sure that they brought on board a lot of creative ideas that you guys weren't aware of, and vice versa. I'm sure that's why that merger happened. I don't know if it was a merger, but you said it was a new owner, right?
It was an acquisition.
An acquisition.
We went from an American being owned by an American company to a French company with Swiss and German engineers to an Italian company, and then a South Korean company. And everyone along the way, it truly turned us into a global company. It turned us not just making widgets, if you will, better product, but it turned us into an entire service company where not only do we deliver a product of our own that improves gas turbines for power, but that we can repair the components, we can provide contractual service agreements, not unlike service agreements with your car, be able to handle the risks, manage all the services for a company, monitor their equipment to make sure they didn't fail or have reliability issues. But it turned us into a true competitor to those who are out there offering similar services, but with a twist, with that entrepreneurial twist, that desire to be close to the customer. What I think our customers really like about what we do is that we're very open and transparent. We are just a pure service company, great technology. We're not trying to sell the printer and the printer ink and trying to get you to buy that new printer every year. We want your printer that you have purchased from them. We're going to give you the ink. We're going to give you the ability to operate that perfectly throughout your need. And that's basically the model that we're looking to satisfy and improve on.
Let's talk about the service you're providing and what you introduced over in Agora.
Sure. So just a little bit about my company. So our company is Power Systems Manufacturing, or PSM. As I mentioned before, we've been around for 25 years. We currently have 500 employees ourselves. We were acquired by Hanwha, the Hanwha Group, about 2.5 years ago, and we fit perfectly within their desire to provide clean energy technology across the spectrum. And in particular, what we're focused on is clean fuels, the use and application of clean fuels. What do I mean by a clean fuel? What I mean is when it's utilized, say, in a gas turbine, actually going through the combustion process, which is nothing more than a chemical reaction, you are actually creating no carbon dioxide. So imagine carbon dioxide is one of the major major parts of greenhouse gases that is truly impacting climatic change and what's happening here in the world. So what we're doing there is I have, and my company has developed some really cool technology that allows these gas turbines, whether they're 30 or 40 or 50 years old, to be completely revitalized, upgraded, future-proofed with a nice modular combustion system that allows not only fossil natural gas to be used as a fuel, but also hydrogen, co-blended. But we are moving quickly to the point where the true magic of utilizing 100% hydrogen as a fuel. Now, what does that mean? What it means is 100% hydrogen fuel in a gas turbine has zero carbon dioxide signature. No carbon monoxide, no carbon dioxide. The exhaust contains some oxides of nitrogen because there's lots of nitrogen in the air, which we control, but also lots of water, which, of course, if you wanted to, you could condense it and you could recapture the water. So really, it's a magic energy conversion device. So what was I doing here? This type of forum, the type of executives, the type of thought leaders, business development people, are all looking to see how we can build out a hydrogen ecosystem. How can it be cost competitive? How can we scale it? How is it going to be financed? How much can we produce and at what cost? Well, one area where they're all looking for, whether they know it or not, is how am I going to use it? Who's going to buy it? Now, there's already been a lot of discussion here and in other places about hydrogen for mobility. What that means is I'm using hydrogen, I'm putting it in a fuel cell, and I'm generating electricity to power the vehicle, whether it's a car or a truck. What I'm talking about, what I'm doing as a matter of discovery and education for the audience, is to show them the real practicality, the art of the possible of what can be done today in a gas turbine to allow it to participate in our decarbonized clean energy landscape, particularly for power. So there's lots of naysayers out there. I'm okay with that. I want to hear where they're coming from. But I believe we have a compelling product that we want to bring forward to this audience because they need that. They're all looking for their business cases to, quote, pencil out. Reduction of carbon intensity on power generation is one way to do that.
So let's talk about who would be a potential client that would use your type of product?
Super question. And they're all here. Right?
Isn't that great?
It's fantastic. They're all here. And we are looking to do this in a staged approach. We're not looking to take these massive power plants using gas turbines and immediately turn them to 24/7 zero carbon entities by using hydrogen. We simply don't have the hydrogen to do it. What we're looking for is what, of course, I think a lot of people call the low-hanging fruit. And so you go where the hydrogen is. And our approach is start small, but start smart. So the oil and gas industry, surprise, surprise, who's here, utilize gas turbines in their refineries, in their petrochemical facilities, in their chemical plants to not only generate steam for chemical processes, but also to generate power for themselves, but also to sell it onto the grid. But when they process these petrochemicals or these chemicals, there's a refinery off gas, something that's left over, and it actually has a high amount of hydrogen in it. So what they've typically done is they typically flare that gas. So anytime you pass by a refinery today, you will see little candles. Well, and you'll see black smoke coming from it. But that's an uncontrolled release of soot
and carbon dioxide, lots of oxides of nitrogen, which really is impactful and horrible from a public health standpoint due to smog and respiratory ailments. But if that could be used in a gas turbine where it could be combusted clean, that portion of the hydrogen would reduce the carbon intensity of the power being produced. So they can't flare it anymore. They can't really do anything with it. So what we see are power companies who are right next to, or the entity themselves with these assets internal or inside the fence, if you will, utilizing that refinery off gas and that hydrogen to reduce their what's called scope 1 emissions, scope 1 greenhouse gas emissions, put it into a gas turbine and reduce the intensity of the electricity they produce. So we've done that already for a power company known as CERAeek Americas in Linden, New Jersey. The refinery was Bayway Refinery, which is owned by Phillips 66. I chatted with both their executives today. They're very complimentary of how we've been able to support them. That's not only a home run, but it tells the industry that this can be done. There's no barrier in the technology for gas turbines. So what other ways can we use to scale this? But more importantly, it points directionally to how hydrogen can be used in power.
And that's what's so exciting. I mean, when you're talking about hydrogen, you're really talking about a real clean energy source. And like you said, right down to the water. And here you are innovating this for our children's future. But what's next? What's next?
What's next? So, gas turbines, to give you an example, just so we know and as a basis, there's about 1,270 gigawatts of installed power generation capacity in the United States alone. Okay, of that, 470 gigawatts are gas turbines. Those gas turbines today produce 43% of the power, and they produce 10%. Just those gas turbines produce almost 10% of the entire greenhouse gas emissions of the United States. It's a good place to start. Other folks can handle agriculture and industry and transportation. I want to focus on the 25% total pie of greenhouse gas emissions and begin to impact that from gas turbines. Coal's disappearing. Gas turbines produce carbon dioxide, about half that of coal. That's a good, easy first step. What I want to do is you change those assets, and over the next 20 to 25 years, allow these gas turbines that are already sitting there, already producing power, to do it in a decarbonized way. Because the real magic of gas turbines is you can turn them on and dispatch them whenever you want. Turn them on, off. Try to do that with a windmill, right? Or doing that when the sun goes down. You really can. So you need something that can balance the inherent instability and the apparent intermittency of these renewables. And battery storage is one. You got to load the battery with something, and then when it's gone, it's gone. But if you had hydrogen, today it's natural gas. Hydrogen is an energy storage mechanism, much like a battery. And then release it into these gas turbines when they're needed. Boom! You're now providing fully decarbonized, dispatchable power. When the wind comes, starts again, the sun comes up, you just dial them back down. And then you produce some more hydrogen. Boom! Do it again. And then you are able to continually add more renewables and not cause an issue with the reliability of the grid. That's where I see the magic of gas turbines today, that bridging solution. So the question, Kimberly, is what's next, right? Well, we're going to get to the other side, which is full renewable. I'm a big believer in nuclear being part of this solution, particularly in the United States. I'm not afraid of technology. I'm certainly critical that safety is priority number one. But in order for us to do this, we have to bring all the tools in the toolbox. My solutions for operators of gas turbines is another tool that they just don't know they have there and they don't know how to use. My job is to show them how to use it and to provide that benefit not only to their company, my company, but also to our global community.
It's almost like recycling. You know, showing somebody, hey, you already have this. Let's put it to use. That's fun.
The circular economy is very important to me, and this is perfect. I'm repurposing an existing asset. You know, today, if you had to go and put a new power plant in, a brand new power plant, and you're saying, well, I don't want to use these older assets. Well, they have a purpose. They have vitality left with the right technology implementation. But imagine virgin steel for a typical gas turbine that's currently sold today, between 500,000 to 1 million pounds of steel is being used for every gas turbine. And that has to be extracted again from the earth every single time. Well, I've already done it with this gas turbine. There's no problem bringing it back to point zero with the right technology at a very competitive capex cost. But allowing it to participate in a profitable, environmentally conscious way. That's what I'm looking to do.
And it sounds like in your journey, you didn't just become an engineer, but you've learned a lot about business and about how how much it takes to take something from like a startup. Like you said, it has transitioned from one owner to another, but you kept it together. Right? All of y'all kept it together, and it's still going. You don't give up just because somebody new comes in, right? Might get better ideas. Don't be afraid of change. Isn't that what you just said?
You can't be. You have to embrace it in some way, because it's going to drive. It's going to be the catalyst for new ideas. I mean, the engineers I work with in my commercial team, my leadership. I mean, the things that we can bring to bear together as a team in this type of environment that is my company, inside a broader conglomerate that appreciates what we're doing and is using us to catalyze what they're doing in the clean energy space. I mean, it's like the perfect storm, those cosmic tumblers that just locked into place. So not only are we proud, but we're very appreciative of the way that we're approaching the marketplace.
Well, I just love how you went from air to water to all of this hydrogen and providing the alternative sources that we need for a cleaner environment, but a more useful power source. It's I think I got this right. Power systems management or power sources?
Power systems manufacturing.
Manufacturing. And
Yes.
people, manufacturing, I got this wrong. But, you know, we're learning every day. We're not afraid to make mistakes. In fact, that's where we usually gain the most knowledge that we need to move forward and make the changes that we need. In fact, I make a lot of mistakes and get a lot of knowledge. But that's what we're about, and that's what we want to inspire, is that your education does not stop in college. Expand on it, and it doesn't stop just because you get a little bit older, slow down a little bit more. It actually it spins more up here. To me, it does. So get out there, be creative, learn how you can change our environment, and it might just make your life a little bit better too. I want to thank you, Jeffrey, for coming. I hope you've enjoyed it and enjoyed the show. We've got one more dinner to go to, and then tomorrow is a wrap-up session. So everyone, I look forward to seeing you real soon. Don't forget to check out Power Systems Manufacturing for providing clean fuel. Sorry I got that wrong, but now you won't forget it. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys very soon, and stay tuned. Thank you.